Good morning, grade 9s. Today our lesson is going to be on solving single-step inequalities. The nice thing about the solving in this next two lessons is identical to what we did last chapter, and the only difference, instead of having an equal sign, we're going to have an inequality. Okay? So to solve inequalities, you pretend the inequality sign is an equal sign, and then you isolate the variable. But there's one new rule. And this new rule is you can change or reverse the inequality sign when you multiply or divide by a negative number. So what do I mean by that? For example, if you have a question that will say solve, you have negative 2x less than 8. Your first step is, so we're going to solve this question pretending that's an equal sign. First step is to get x to be by itself. I need to divide this side by negative 2. I have to divide this side by negative 2. So my x is going to be, because I'm dividing by negative 2, that's a negative number, I have to switch or reverse my inequality. That was less than, it becomes greater than negative 4. And that would be your final answer. Okay, so my example for changing and reverse is anytime you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, you have to reverse the inequality. Example 1. We're going to solve two questions. I have a over 2 is less than negative 3. So in order to solve this, we're going to pretend that inequality is an equal sign and follow the rules that we learned in our last chapter. We start with the side of the variable. I want to get rid of the 2, so I multiply 2 on this side because that will cancel these out. So I have to multiply by 2 on the opposite side. So here I have a left over. Because I'm multiplying with a positive number, my inequality stays exactly the same. And then negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. So my final answer is a is less than negative 6. Letter B gives the equation that says 4 is less than b over negative 2. Same thing, we're going to follow the rules we learned last chapter. My first step is to look at the side of the variable, which is the right-hand side. I need to get rid of the negative 2, so I'm going to multiply by negative 2. That will cancel out, so I have to multiply by negative 2. Negative 2 times 4 gives me negative 8. That's my b. Here, b is greater. Because I multiply by a negative number, I have to switch my inequality. So my answer becomes b is less than negative 8. And you always read it in perspective of my variable. So b is less than negative 8. My next example 2 is not a solving question, it's a verifying question. For example, for the inequality x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 10, verify the solution is x is greater than or equal to 8. So they're giving you the solution and they're asking you, is this the right solution? So when you get something like this, you want to find test points. What do I mean by that? When you get this as your solution, you have a range of numbers. If I were to do my number line, that's my 8. And x has to be greater than or equal to 8. And that means I can choose any number. I can choose a number 8 or any number larger, and it'll make my inequality come out to be true. So your first step is that I have to pick 2 test points, meaning pick 2 numbers, any 2 numbers you want. One has to be 8 because it says equal to 8, and the other one can be any number greater than 8. So I'm going to choose 8 first. So my test point is 8. Once I find my test point, I'm using the number 8. I'm saying when x is equal to 8, does that make my inequality true? So I start off with the inequality given, x plus 2 is greater than equal to 10. I substitute 8 for my x. 8 plus 2 is greater than equal to 10. and 10 is greater than equal to 10. So now if I read this inequality, it says 10 is greater than or equal to 10, and that comes out to be true. Because it comes out to be true, that means 8 works. So my test point 8 comes correct. Now I have to pick a different number. I can pick any number larger than 8. So I'm going to choose 9, keeping my math nice and simple. So my test point is 9. My inequality is the same. X plus 2 is greater than or equal to 10. I substitute in 9. 9 plus 2 is greater than or equal to 10. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 is greater than or equal to 10. Now I read my inequality. Is 11 a greater or equal to 10? And it comes out to be true. Because both of these work, that means x greater than or equal to 8 is a solution for this inequality. If only one of these work, then it would not be a solution. So I can summarize my answer as the solution x greater than or equal to 8 is correct for this inequality. You'll find a lot of questions in your assignment that are similar to this. You might have a different way of doing the question as well. Some of you might have solved the inequality and checked if it matched. That's another way you can do it. This is another way you can do it. So whichever method works for you. Our last example is a word problem. So John is planting a tree as a summer job. He gets paid 10 cents per tree planted. He wants to earn at least $20 per hour. Write an inequality to model the number of trees John must plant to reach his goal. So if I look at this, the key thing is here. 10 cents per tree. So he's getting paid to plant 10 cents per tree. So I'm going to use T as my tree. How many trees is he going to plant? And the next part is he wants to earn at least $20 per hour. At least means that he wants to make 20 for sure, but anything more than that is okay. So he wants to figure out how many trees does he plan to make at least $20 or more. Therefore, my inequality is going to be greater than or equal to. So this becomes your question. 10 cents per tree greater than or equal to 20. This is greater because he wants to make at least $20, but more than 20 is okay. My next step is to solve. So I start off with my equation. Then I look at the side of my variable. I want to get rid of the 10 cents. So I divide by 10. Then I divide by 10 cents on this side. So my t is going to be equal to, t has to be greater than equal to. I'm dividing by a positive number so I don't switch my inequality. 20 divided by 0.1 gives me 200. So John has to plant 200 or more trees to earn $20 per hour. So you can summarize this question as, so John needs to plant 200 or more trees, and if he does that, he'll make $20 per hour or more. That's the end of our lesson. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me or send me a message on Teams. And our next lesson is going to be the same thing as solving, but with more complicated questions. Thank you. Bye.